Well. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Good morning. Sam here, United People's TV, here for yet another busy show. It really is a busy show today. We're going to be speaking through all the Manuel Ugarte news. Ralf Rangnick, Kobbie Mainoo. Unfortunately, I'm going to mention Gareth Southgate's name. We're going to speak through Manchester United hiring a lawyer, unsurprisingly, to try and push through a deal for Jean-Claire Todibo. Details on that. Erik Ten Hag's new contract, the role for Ruud van Nistelrooy. Man United's women's team being moved out of their training facilities and moved into porter cabins as part of the Carrington. I mean, it's no wonder I do this show every single day. It is mad. I don't know how you'd keep up on United news if you didn't have United People's TV. Well, you'd probably go somewhere else. But look, I'm going to try and run through everything. We'll have a discussion. You fire in your comments, your questions, all that jazz. And I'll try and answer as much as I can. No doubt it'll be a busy one. Let's see who's here from the Mod Gang. Good morning to you, Clark. I can see you down there. Alex, good morning to you as well, buddy. And Carl, I can see you there. Josh, saw you earlier too. And good morning to all of you. Therese, I can see you there. Vinny, got David Webb, Philip Scully. Mate, big up X-Files, by the way. Bit of Mulder and Scully. Everton, Thomas, not Everton. We've got Kenny, Brian, Robin, and Vicky. Good morning to all of you. On Facebook, we have Chris Wynn, Morris Kelly, Steve, Chuck Woody, Dan McGann, Divine Drills, and Ian Cartwright. Good morning to all of you. Hope you're doing well. And, yeah, busy show. It always is a busy show. Right, let's get into it. And this is exactly where I want to start, man. A little round of applause here. It's not even a round of applause for Ralf Rangnick. It's just, isn't it crazy when you see a coach who's got a squad of players that buy into what he is asking for? And there's no bad eggs. And everybody's on the exact same wavelength. That is Ralf Rangnick as Austrian manager. It almost feels like international football is like the perfect environment for Ralf Rangnick. Because if you're going to play for your country, you're going to have to buy into exactly what the manager is saying. And it almost feels like the worst possible environment for him could have been coming into a poisonous... Man, it was a poisonous Manchester United dressing room. We all know that. There's still some bad eggs in there. And he had to come in as an interim manager, basically say, for a couple of months, you've got to do what I need to do. But I'm the supply teacher and someone else is coming in. And nobody did. Apart from the first 30 minutes first half against Crystal Palace. Do you remember that first half against Crystal Palace? After all we saw in the sort of the end of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's reign, like 2-3 months, no sort of input from anybody. And then that first 45 minutes, I swear even Ronaldo was pressing up front. It was like, how has he done this straight away against Crystal Palace? And then obviously all went downhill from there. But congratulations to Ralf Rangnick. Congratulations to Austria for topping the group that had the Netherlands and France in. Absolutely nobody would have given them a sniff or a chance at doing that. Yeah, I agree down there in the comments. I think the interim position was like a poison chalice anyway. Michael Carrick successfully was a Manchester United interim manager for what? 3 games? I think it was. I think it was Villarreal away, Chelsea away, and Arsenal at home. I think, was that what it was? And then he resigned after, and no one actually expected it. I think I remembered those. Top tier for me if I did. But big up to Ralf Rangnick. Big up to Sabitzer as well. I think even Weghorst got an assist. Mate, woo! Netherlands are pretty poop. Any Dutch fans here in the comments? What's going on with your team? Is it really because De Jong's not there? I don't know. Jonathan, you're saying listen to Ralf Rangnick and your team does well. Well, Ralph spoke a lot of truth at Manchester United, didn't he? We all know that. Open heart surgery, he said. No, people saying, oh, Erik Ten Hag got rid of Sabitzer. Don't forget that. Sabitzer had injury problems at Manchester United. It's bad. Frankie and Koopman is both missing for Holland in midfield. Quite a few of you are saying that down there. Who was the young lad who got taken off? Was it Veerens? I think his name was Veerens. You're all saying you basically got no midfield. Yeah, it was just weird. And honestly, could be a really crap game of football if you play England on Sunday. It could really be a crap game of football. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. England, 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 England. I'm sitting here looking at that second half. It was Veerman. That's exactly who it was. That second half, mind blown. Oh my God, England looked better when Mainoo's on the pitch. England looked better when Cole Palmer came on the pitch. And England actually looked slightly better when Anthony Gordon came on the pitch. Imagine. I mean, it's not rocket science. I mean, apparently it is rocket science. Gallagher in that first half is just... I mean, it's exactly what you thought he was going to be. Runs around like a really excited puppy. That's how he plays. But Mainoo is almost like... I don't know why I was thinking about this comparison, because it's a really stupid comparison. But like, if you learn how to free dive, you learn how to slow your heart rate down and control yourself so that you can understand breathing differently. It's kind of how Mainoo plays. But he plays football at 2 gears below everybody else, pace-wise. But by doing that, it allows him to think 2 steps ahead upstairs. Brain over engine, whatever you want to call it. It's something that Paul Scholes said ahead of the game. And it's exactly what it was. And that was probably one of the biggest compliments you ever gave to Paul Scholes, was Scholes knew the pass he was going to do before he had the ball at his feet. And that's how Mainoo plays football. A step ahead. That's why he doesn't really look at the being under pressure in the same way as other players do. And that's why having him in a team makes your team play differently. Rather than just a million miles an hour, get it as, you know, it isn't really transitional football. It's just balance. Balance is like, if you're going to be a chef, it's part of one of the most important parts of being a chef is the balance of flavors. And there's no balance in that. It's the blandest. England is like plain spaghetti. I don't know what I'm talking about now. But it is painful watching England, man. Honestly, I know that Scotland played worse football, right, than England did. But I mean, that has to be the 3 performances, man. 7 goals in 6 games in that group stage. Ugh. And Mainoo's definitely going to start in the next game, all right? That's done and dusted now. But that had to happen in this game. It should have happened the game before, and it should have happened at the start of the tournament. It's just Gareth Southgate is so dead set on his... Don't know what you even call it. Has he got a philosophy? I don't know if he's got a philosophy. Anyway, he's so dead set on that being correct that he was willing to let these games go to waste in the group stage. And now that it's going to change and we're going to go into this game against the Netherlands, or I don't know who else we can even get. Someone said boiled chicken. Oh, do people actually boil chicken? Oh, hurts my soul. Unseasoned chicken. Why would you ever... Anyway, let's not get into a conversation here. Let's not get into a conversation. But Gary Neville knows it. I know it. You know it. Mainoo will start the next game. And he should have started every game for England so far. And this isn't just... It could have been Mainoo, and it probably could have been Adam Wharton. But I've seen more of Mainoo, and I know he really has got that composure. Showed it in the FA Cup final. Showed it in big games. Showed it away at Anfield too. Adam Wharton, I'm sure he does have that quality as well. But should have been starting every game. England, and this is I would probably argue this is the downfall of pretty much every England manager that I can remember, is just looking at the names and thinking that's going to make the best team. I've not seen an England manager really, well, clearly not, we've not won a tournament. I've not seen an England manager capable of making our country look like a club. You know what? It's like that's the biggest compliment that I think everyone's giving watching Germany right now. Kind of looks like you're watching a club team. Everybody knows what the other player is doing. And that's when your team is... Same with Ralf Rangnick in Austria. Everyone is exactly on the same wavelength. And it's just so far off what England are. And I don't think Mainoo coming in for the round of 16 game is going to transform everything, because it's still disjointed up front. Harry Kane, yeah. There's no way that Harry Kane gets taken off, because of the goal scorer that he is. But just get the runners like Phil Foden. There was a point yesterday where Phil Foden, like the ball dropped to him about 30 yards out, and he just decided to just wallop it back on the volley. As soon as he did that, I was like, mate, you got to get him off. His head's gone. As soon as he's doing that, his head's gone. Anthony Gordon should have been on there. Runs in behind. Let Harry Kane be the player that runs to the edge of the box. And yeah, no left back's ridiculous. It is ridiculously ridiculous. Went there with no fit left back. England are going to get to maybe the quarterfinals, and then it's just going to bah, and then bah. Unless by some sort of miracle, the script is flipped. But I'd be surprised if we manage to flip the script when we come up against the likes of Germany, who look fantastic, Spain, who look really, really good, Italy are wobbling a little bit. What other teams have been really impressive? I actually think if England played Austria, man, would we struggle. Because they are a unit. No real weaknesses there. Mainoo should be starting the next game. I think Saka looks like he's a bit one-dimensional in this England team as well. Good when it works. Great. But there's so many attacking options there. You can't just stick with players who have scored how many goals? 1 against Denmark. 1 in the first game against Serbia. So 2 goals in 3 games. Okay. So the attack's not working. So you switch it up. But instead, it's just using the same ingredients every time and expecting the meal to come out differently. It won't. It won't. It's down, and it's not. And David, it's a good point there. It's not really down to individuals. It's down to the manager. And you're not going to be able to change the tactics of England and change the approach of England. But I don't know whether it's a freedom thing. I don't really care, honestly. Until Mainoo came on yesterday, I was so switched off from that England game, and I've not really had that before. I've always loved watching England play. Going to Kaliningrad with Flav and James in the van, that still stands as one of my favourite memories. We came back watching the Croatia semi-final. I remember exactly where I was for that. Then the Euros last year in London. I've properly swept away with the hype of it all. I just haven't this time. I'm really sort of a little bit removed. What are we saying down here in the comments? Let me read your comments out, and then we'll move on to... there's lots of talking points today. It's going to be a busy, busy show. Make sure you please do drop a like on it. Take him off for Watkins. Kane is only good in the box. I mean, he's not. That's a lie. Kane is one of the best playmakers and striker combinations. That's always been probably one of the strengths of his game, as well as scoring 49 goals in 51 club and country games this season. He's always been the playmaker who drops deep and links play people up. So, no, I wouldn't say that. Rice, Mainoo and Foda in the middle. Says Anthony Gordon on the left and Palmer on the right. Watkins up top. Well, you're not going to change everything, dude. You're not going to change everything. If I was to say definite changes, you need Mainoo in for Gallagher. And you need to get Anthony Gordon in that starting 11. And I think that needs to happen on the left. If that means dropping Saka and playing Foden on the right, then so be it. But you need Gordon on the left. It needs to happen. So I think that's probably what happens, if I'm being honest. I think it's Mainoo comes in. Gordon goes on the left. Foden goes on the right. And Saka is dropped. And then you get Foden cutting inside. And it's just Foden's better on the right anyway. That's what I would do. Off the top of my head. Because I know better than Gareth. I mean, I might actually know better than Southgate. I don't actually know. No, I don't. But look, elsewhere, another 90 minutes for Lisandro Martinez. I'm really, really happy. He looks like as I said, that combination of aggression and progression. That is Lisandro Martinez. And he's looking good, fit and healthy. Two games he's played in the Copa America. He started both games and he's completed 90 minutes in both games. All right? Good to see. There's no minutes for Alejandro Garnacho yet, which is not too much of a surprise considering the players who came off the bench for Argentina yesterday were Di Maria, Lautaro Martinez, who scored the winner. 1-0 against Chile yesterday. So they're in the quarterfinals now, I think. It's a pretty stacked attacking Argentinian squad, but simply having Garnacho there to be involved, I think is important at this stage in his career and development. He's only 19. Maybe he'll get some minutes. I don't know. But Lisandro Martinez got another 90 minutes and he's looking good. This is almost like a pre-season for Martinez. He didn't really have a season. So he needs this. Hopefully wins the Copa America. Done. So that's the World Cup ticked off, Copa America ticked off, and then comes back, has a little bit of a break, but goes into the preseason feeling refreshed and regenerated, having won that. Fingers crossed. So Tyler, I disagree with you there. I'm glad that he's gone to Copa America. Just hope that he can stay injury-free. Fingers crossed. Now, this is actually the most important news that's come out of the Euros. The biggest story from yesterday is this, right? It's not really, but it's quite funny. UEFA have confirmed that Denmark finished ahead of Slovenia because the Slovenian assistant manager got a yellow card. Because they finished level on points, same goal difference, same goals scored, and same yellow cards to the players. So they went down to, has the coaching staff had a yellow card? So Novakovic, you're the reason that Slovenia finished third and not second. How mad is that? It goes down to how many yellows the coaches get. Why? That's so weird, isn't it? I mean, I don't know where else you turn after that. Fuming, though. Absolutely fuming. That's quite funny, I think so, anyway. Right, now we can get into the main story. The main bit of news. We're going to focus on Erik ten Hag's new contract first, have a little conversation around Ruud van Nistelrooy and the role, and then we're going to be moving on to Manuel Ugarte. It's going to be the big transfer talking point of today's show. Right, so Fabrizio Romano yesterday dropping the big news, saying Ten Hag is set to sign a new contract at Manchester United. The deal is now almost agreed. Contracts are advancing to the final stages this week with his agents to finalise terms. There will be changes in the staff with Ruud van Nistelrooy as a strong candidate as revealed. So while the negotiations, well, I say negotiations, Ineos were looking at different managers for quite a while. They decided they wanted to stick with Erik ten Hag. The new contract talks have been accelerating quite quickly. As far as I can see being reported elsewhere, it looks like Erik ten Hag's going to get 2 years. And I still don't know whether it's 2 years on top of the one that he's got now, so basically a 3-year contract, or whether it's going to be 2, including this one. So the details on that are going to be, well, we'll know that when we get the official announcement. All right. But it's going to be, I imagine, either 2 or 3 years. The more important part of this whole Ten Hag contract is the finer details. All right. I'm going to run through what Chris Wheeler is reporting from the Daily Mail down here. Now, typically the Daily Mail don't know what they're doing, but Chris Wheeler's, I wouldn't say he's mega reliable, but he's certainly improved himself over the last year or so. He's saying, look, despite some modifications to his role at Old Trafford, it is understood there will not be a great deal of change, and Ten Hag will still retain the title of manager, which I would be a little bit surprised about. I thought the definition of Erik ten Hag as a head coach would be quite clear. I don't really know why they would just leave it as manager, because I still think that, you know, sometimes when you're in businesses, and roles and responsibilities are one of the most important things to get right when you're scaling a business. When you're bringing other people in, they have to know exactly what they're doing. They have to know exactly where their responsibilities are. And if you don't do that, you sometimes get crossover. You sometimes get 2 people doing the same job, and sometimes nobody doing the job that needs to be done because you've not defined the roles and responsibilities. It's probably just a title thing, all right? It's probably just a title thing, and I'm looking into it a little bit too much. Manager, head coach, effectively the same thing. But anyway, the most important part is this bit down here, after you scroll through 400 photos and 3 adverts on the website. Erik ten Hag is set to be joined by his Dutch compatriot Ruud van Nistelrooy as the talks continue over a return to Old Trafford. And we spoke about this yesterday, and I'll speak about the video I did yesterday as well. But the former PSV boss would be handed a senior role on Erik ten Hag's coaching staff if he decides to return, which of course could have implications for Van der Gaag, McLaren, or McCarthy. And we spoke about this. And I said, well, I think it was Vicky yesterday. It was an agenda-ridden opinion. That really stuck in my head. I really don't have it's such a misused word, and I don't have agendas. My only agenda, you know full well, is what is best for Manchester United. That will be what I'm talking about. Then it got to me, that one, because I don't like people throwing those sorts of accusations at me. And we spoke about what we felt the role would be. And I said, in my opinion, there's two definites that won't happen. There's no way that Ruud van Nistelrooy would come to Manchester United just as an attacking coach. There's no way you turn down a head coach opportunity at Burnley in the Championship to just replace Benny McCarthy. There's no way. And that's what the Mail are reporting here. And the second part is, I personally, just an opinion, would be surprised if Man United simply added in another assistant manager and that the entire setup was left the same. So Van der Gaag stayed as assistant, McLaren stayed as assistant, Benny McCarthy stayed as attacking coach, and they just add in another assistant manager. I'd be surprised. Well, I imagine we probably get an announcement this quite soon. I'm going away on, I know it's shocking. It's despicable behaviour. I'm going away for a couple of days. I'm going away to Portugal, so I won't be here for a live show on Friday. So naturally, if you're going to predict when news is going to break, it's probably going to happen on Friday or probably going to happen on Saturday or Sunday. That's just what happens. When I go away, this sort of stuff happens. But yeah, he's set to get handed a senior role. And yesterday I did my video on Ruud van Nistelrooy. I did my video on kind of the basic overall principles of Van Nistelrooy's coaching. Words from the man himself, explaining how Fergie, he loved playing the attacking free football under Fergie, and that's what he wanted to imprint onto his players. I spoke about the overall style of Ruud van Nistelrooy. I spoke about the setup, the 4-2-3-1 he typically used there. I spoke about the fact that he likes to create overloads, likes to have real width, likes his wingers to go one-on-one. And it's just a basic overview of, if Van Nistelrooy came in at Manchester United, what could we expect to change, or what's the voice that would be joining our coaching staff? So that's what that video was for. And yeah, the new contract is being lined up. I wonder do you reckon it will be a double announcement? So we'll get the Ten Hag new contract announcement and the announcement that Ruud van Nistelrooy has joined the team as an assistant manager. I probably think both of it, because I think it'll be written into the contract that we can appoint an assistant manager. Obviously, you've got to agree with it, but it'll be written into the new contract. I imagine it'll probably be a double announcement. Let's find out what we're saying down here. Tardy is saying, Sam, with the Ruud appointment, do you think it's down to change tactics throughout the games? I don't think it'll be... I mean, that will be part of it. You lean on your assistant managers in games for conversations about, what's going wrong, what could we change in game. So Ruud van Nistelrooy should be a voice that has that authority alongside Mitchell van der Gaag for Erik ten Hag. I don't think he'll come in and all of a sudden we're going to change how we train. I just think Ineos don't trust the partnership of Van der Gaag and Erik ten Hag to deliver the game model that they want to see. All right? That's the truth. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having a conversation about Ruud van Nistelrooy joining. Ineos have decided throughout their whole process and people they spoke to that they trust Erik ten Hag to be the man to lead it, but Ineos want to help steer it from behind the scenes a little bit. Not too much where they're sort of undermining Erik ten Hag. Akash, I've already spoken about this. I think it will be a sticking point for Erik ten Hag. But I think given everything that happened last season, given that we finished 8th in the Premier League, given that we had our worst ever season in the Premier League, given the lack of progress, the continuance with the style, the lack of adaptability, I imagine even a stubborn Erik ten Hag can realise that and understand why Ineos would want to make some changes. I mean, surely. We can all see that. Let's see what you're saying down here in the comments. Ravi, I don't know what you're talking about being misleaded. I feel maybe they're improving the coaching staff, especially the attacking side. Van der Gag's more of a defensive coach guy. I think Van der Gag's just more like the heavy lifter on the training ground, if you want to call it that. He's the man in charge of all the drills. He's the man in charge of, I suppose, discipline by that regard as well. It's not necessarily, I think, that Ineos don't rate Van der Gag. It's just I don't think Ineos trust their partnership to deliver what they want to see next season. And they need their own, and Ineos want their own voice in there. And Ineos, seemingly, have decided that Ruud van Nistelrooy can be that voice. And it's not because he's got a great beard, though he does have a great beard. It's not just because he scored 150 goals in 219 games for United. It's because they've clearly analysed overall who he is as a person. And I didn't really speak about this in the video yesterday because this is going to be part of the deeper dive when we get into it. But Ruud van Nistelrooy, as a striker, came across as someone, I mean, aggressive, but in an attacking sense. Like aggressive because you need to be, rather than being an aggressive. He's not like a Vinnie Jones, right? Who's just aggressive. But a lot of what people who have worked with Ruud van Nistelrooy are saying that he's actually a completely different person as a coach, and he actually gets along with players. Now, of course, he did fall out with some players. Well, I don't know whether he fell out with some players at PSV, but the reason he left PSV was because he felt he didn't have support from above. But Ineos clearly have done their research, ticked all the boxes and go with the style, with the personality. And I think the personality is probably one of the most important things with the assistant they're getting in. Because I think they feel that the personality of Van der Gag and Erik ten Hag, I imagine, are quite similar. Because Erik ten Hag absolutely trusts Van der Gag to do everything on the training pitch that he would want to do. So he trusts him to effectively be his lieutenant. Vicky, you mentioned Steve McLaren down there. I don't know what's going to happen with Steve McLaren. I definitely want to get his son Josh on another podcast once this is all said and done. What happened? What even happened with Mike Phelan? Does anybody remember? Is Mike Phelan still at Manchester United? Because I can't remember him. I can't remember an announcement that he left. I mean, he might have done. But I swear if that did, it was sort of like very quiet and sort of in the background. Apparently he left. I can't remember. I actually can't remember anything that happened with him. Left when Ollie left. Right, there you go. Well, that's what happened then. I personally think there'll be a restructure. And I don't know what that restructure would be. Phelan was indeed the one that popped the balloon. That's one of my favourite. Get a 50 gift video. 50 gift videos. I love that one. But look. It may well happen when I'm away, and we could get an announcement of Ruud coming to the club and an announcement of Erik ten Hag's new contract. If we do, you're probably going to get a drunk video from me in a pair of sunglasses. Why not? Why not? But anyway, let's move on to the main part of today's show, which is going to be the conversation around Manuel Ugarte. And it's going to be a big transfer conversation, looking at the news and everything in between. Mike Phelan was on TalkSport saying he doesn't believe Ten Hag deserves to stay. Nah, calm down there, Mike. Calm down. Calm down. He was actually, I haven't seen that he was on TalkSport. But look, we've been waiting, right? We've been waiting patiently for Manchester United to be heavily linked with a midfielder. And now we've got one. So I'm going to head to the whiteboards and bring you the update on there. V33 saying Mike Phelan's now the kit man. I don't know what Mike Phelan is. What was his name? Lee Grant. Remember when Lee Grant was here? I always found that one weird. Right. The whiteboards. I've tried to update them slightly. I brought Ugarte there as I put him into the green at the top above Fofana and Onana. And we've got Branthwaite there as right now Branthwaite is the only centre-back that we are heavily linked with. I put Todibo with a strike through and a cross. Maybe I'll be updating that. I'll see. And we've got Xerxes down there as the main striker that we are linked with, right? So in terms of transfers that are now active, we've got Elise that's been taken off the attackers list because he's going Bayern Munich. You've got Xerxes there. Still, it's at the talk stage. We haven't agreed personal terms. I don't think it'll be a problem, but nothing on there yet. Ugarte now is down there in the midfielders section. And we've been waiting for midfielders. And I can't believe I'm going to say this. Sky Sports were the first two. Sky Sports were the first to the news. Blew my mind. Very old school of you. But yeah, it was Sky Sports who first published the news saying that Manchester United were interested in a move for Ugarte. And it was followed up with a kind of some varying reports. And as far as I can tell, these reports are basically, are your sources coming from PSG in France, or are your sources coming from Manchester United in England? Because if you go over to what they're saying in France, saying PSG have rejected Manchester United's offer for him. Let's see what the article says. According to L'Equipe, PSG have rejected an offer from United for Ugarte, which was deemed insufficient, with the club keen to collect near to the amount they paid for him last summer when he joined for 60 million euros. Good luck. Good luck. And then the Telegraph followed up here, saying Manchester United hold talks with PSG. French champions claim bid has been rejected, but United insist interest is still at the early stage. Man United have been in contact with PSG about signing Ugarte, and as I said, it's different strokes for different folks, depending on where your sources are. Fabrizio Romano here, saying this. Manuel Ugarte has got a chance to leave PSG this summer. The club is open to selling him in case of a good proposal. United have made contact with PSG. Talks were on several players and possibilities, including Ugarte. No bid has been submitted yet. That's a little interesting, I suppose, little nugget of information. Talks were on about several players. Fire names in the comments if Manchester United inquired about any other PSG players. Which PSG player would you want us to be interested in? But I'm going to do a poll here today, right? And I'll do something quick. What do you think is a fair price for Ugarte? If hypothetically, Manchester United were to go and get him, right? I'll leave you 4 options here. Which would you prefer, Manchester? Not that you prefer. Which you actually think is going to happen? No, I'll do that there. Again, YouTube, I know you're not watching, but please let my mods be able to do these polls. It will make it so much more inclusive as a show. All right. That's my, I suppose, 4 options down there. Quite a few of you down there are saying Xavi Simons. Xavi Simons? Don't know. Simons. Xavi Simons. Could well be a link. We were linked with him last season, I think we were. But he's very much, in terms of the profile of him, he's not in the same sort of profile as Ugarte. Ugarte is really a kind of a classic, more traditional number 6, if you want to call it that. My lunchtime video today, I'll tell you what it is, right? I'm going to be compiling this list here, right? I'm going to run through all the reasons why Ugarte could be considered a good signing for Manchester United. And I'm also going to list the reasons why it could be considered a bad signing. All right, so that's going to be my lunchtime video today. And I'll be honest, I think I might do this as a bit of a running series around players that we're linked with. I like doing the full story where I look at all the reports and try and dig into where the roots of the reports came from, because I like doing journalism, all right? This could also be a series we start. And we've also got the transfer profile. So there's different levels of videos we do. And you're saying about Vitinha. Oh, Vitinha's had a really good season, I thought. Well, I don't know, actually. I have no idea. Right, let me see what you're saying in the poll. So we've got 400 votes on there so far. 41% of you are saying 30 to 40 mil. 41% of you are saying 40 to 50 mil. And 13% of you are saying loan with an option. If I was to choose, I would want Manchester United to go in with a loan with an option. And maybe this is something that Man United would try and chance. Because PSG, look, truth be told, right? This is the truth. I just said truth twice. If Manchester United had the money this summer, we may have already put in a big bid for João Neves. But it could well be that Man United sign Ugarte from PSG, allowing them to free up funds to then go out and sign the player that we ultimately want. João Neves. That hybrid, not a number 6 traditionally per se, whereas Ugarte really is more of a proper number 6. He's got the capabilities of being a number 6, but also far more comfortable in possession. I would say that's definitely a weakness of Ugarte's game. Right, there's a super chat there. Let me read this out. What are you saying down there? Edward, you're saying PSG just had Mbappe leave and always wanted Rashford as a replacement. And we need high earners off the wage bill. Why not a straight swap? A straight swap. Rashford's worth way more than Ugarte. So no way as part of a straight swap. But yeah, Rashford could well have been part of that conversation. I've always said that I felt that if there was going to be a big bid coming in this summer, that it would come from PSG. Because I look at Rashford and Rashford is not Mbappe. But I could see it happening. Anyway. I think the two extremes of opinion on Ugarte are probably wrong on this one. He wouldn't be a bad signing, all right? So let's not try and suggest that he will be a bad signing, because it's just not true. Nor do I think that from a profile perspective, he absolutely ticks the boxes of exactly what Manchester United are looking for. And that's why I think this video today is probably, it's kind of a smart time to start this series. Because I think there are pros and there are cons. And I think ultimately, the price of the deal would pretty much be the defining factor as to whether it's a good signing or not. Because I'm unsure whether Ugarte on his own is enough in midfield for Manchester United. I'll explain more in the video a little bit later on. Let me go and read some of your comments out down here. Ruiz and Vitinha are both better than Ugarte, says Chris. Is Renato Sanchez still any good, says Ryan. Man, what happened to Renato Sanchez? Was it Benfica? Is that where he burst through? I swear he's had loads. Hasn't he had loads of loan moves? But if I look at his Wikipedia page, there's ton. Renato Sanchez. Wicked. Jungle is massive. Let me see where has he been? Oh, he's not been that many. Damn, I forgot he went on to Swansea on loan. Benfica to Bayern to Swansea to Lille to PSG to Roma. Well, is that a fair amount of moves? Fair amount of moves. It can't be that old, surely. How old is he now? 26. Jeez. Swansea. I totally forgot about Swansea. I totally forgot. Right, let me see if a couple more opinions down here on Ugarte. Got distracted there. Can you do a deep dive on Ugarte, says Poz. I'll do a deep dive on Ugarte if it reaches a point where I think it deserves it. In the same way that we're currently doing a bit of research in the background on Van Nistelrooy. We've already done the main profile, but the deep dive, if we need to, we'll pull the trigger. Same with any player that we look at. We've got different, behind the scenes with the team, we've got different levels of content we'll do on different types of signings, depending on how far down the line they go. Once we reach players like Branthwaite, where bids are going in, then we'll do more of a transfer profile on them. We've done one so far on Branthwaite, on Todibo, on Xerxes, is coming out soon. Who else did we do? Branthwaite and Todibo. I swear we did one more. Elise. They're the 3 that we've done so far. Shame. Shame. Anyway, Ugarte. I'm not totally convinced on him. But he certainly wouldn't be a bad signing. It's just whether he would be the exact right signing. And I also question whether United can even do that this summer. Not with the budget we've got. If I'm being totally honest. I think there is a perfect option. I think João Neves would probably be that guy. I think if we had the money, we wouldn't be in this position. I think we would have already put in a bid for him. We'll see. We're talking about Ruben Neves down there. Man, I loved Ruben Neves. Remember when I wanted United to sign Ruben Neves so bad. That was before we had Kobbie Mainoo. I think Ruben Neves would have been, in my opinion, that sort of position. Although he can play a little bit deeper. But again, he's not a number 6. He absolutely is not a number 6. Ugarte really is very much a number 6. Right. Let me see what else he's saying down here. United, pardon me, talking about Jan Bissek at Inter. Ugarte this. Ruben Neves and Casemiro swap deal. Don't think that's going to happen. But yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed this video today at lunchtime. If you can, please do drop a like on it. I'm going to try and start a new series, and they don't always do too well. So if you can, just please show your support. Now, let's move on to somebody who, right now, Tadebo's got a line through his name. 1 second there. But maybe I've got to do this. Maybe I've just got to take that cross off Tadebo and just move it back to there. Because maybe Manchester United will be able to sign Tadebo this summer. I still don't think so. All right? I still don't think so. But I'm not surprised to hear that Manchester United are trying. All right? There's a report coming from France. Manchester United are hiring lawyers to try and sign Tadebo. The report says that Man United have not given up hope of signing him. Ineos is set to contest the rule and have hired a Swiss lawyer, Gianpaolo Montanari, sounds more Italian than Swiss, to plead their case to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. So if Manchester United sign Jean-Claire Tadebo this summer, here's why. Man United are going to take it to the Court of Arbitration. Basically saying that, hold on, how can you put... I mean, I'll be honest, Man United have a case to argue. We've looked at the... What was it? The Savio deal from Girona to City. If I was... that would be the one that I would take to the board. I'd say, how can you possibly say this is any different? I can prove to you that this is all under the City Football Group ownership. The links are clear. It's like saying that Newcastle is not owned by Mohammed bin Salman, despite the fact that they were bought by the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, and the chairman of the Public Investment Fund is Mohammed bin Salman. There you go. So I personally think there is a case to argue. I still don't think they'll get it. But I can understand why they would want to give it a chance. But it's standard Man United. Right? Standard Man United. We want to sign a right centre-back that would be perfect for our club. We've got the money. He wants to join. And now we've got to go to court to try and get the deal through. Which means, by the way, that presumably any advance on a right centre-back alternative, that's now parked. We had conversations early this week, ran through all the centre-back options. I mean, Jared Branthwaite plays both of them, so it's a little bit different. But any other ones like Bremer or De Ligt or anything like that, don't know. It feels like all of that's going to have to get parked. I don't think UEFA will back down on this rule. But as I said, this is the bullshit of modern football. We're now speaking about a court of arbitration to try and find a loophole around the back of a rule that came in to stop something from happening, and other people are still doing it, and it's just like, it's boring, man. This is the sort of stuff that exists in corporate business, and sod the corporate world. Whereas just more and more on a day-to-day basis, week by week, football becomes more corporate. Even transfers are now becoming corporate. Lawyers here, lawyers have always been involved, but it's boring. This is a direct consequence of multi-club ownership, and it's just UEFA have decided, at this point we're annoyed. And now they're trying to rein it in. Well, they can't rein it in. You've unleashed the beast. Yeah, and Akash is exactly what Radcliffe said. It's going to be reached a point where you spend more time in court than you do on the pitch. And it is. But at the same time, I can understand why they're doing that, because of it's the Savio transfer. The Savio one that's happening this summer. between 3 clubs who were all owned by the City Football Group. I don't really think you need to have any other... You don't need to mention anything to do with Red Bull. Because I think there was a rule change in 2023, and that was before that. And you don't need to complicate your case. You just need to use the Savio ownership. And of course, remember what that is. Savio was a player who was signed by Troyes. Troyes is owned by the City Football Group. He was then sent out on loan to Girona, also owned by the City Football Group. Girona got into the Champions League. Man City have now agreed to sign Savio from Girona, despite the fact that Girona and City both play in the Champions League, same competition, and they're saying, oh, because he was on loan from Troy, loopholes. I can understand why they want to give that a bit of an attempt. My personal instinct, I don't think he joins, and I think we're going to end up chasing someone else later. I don't know how long it's going to take in the court of arbitration. We'll see. We'll see. Now, I wish this wasn't TalkSport, because it's TalkSport. But reports saying that Everton are interested in signing both Lindelof and Wan-Bissaka. So we've got that down on the leaving board. I've just added Everton onto the end of Lindelof and Wan-Bissaka. Greenwood, haven't really heard much of an update there. Casemiro, I think I've seen people down there talking about Shoda Shoretire maybe leaving on a free transfer. I mean, he should. It's definitely the right point in his career. He made his debut, I think, when he was 16. I think he was 16. Thereabouts. And he's not going to get a breakthrough at our club. He should leave, and it's the best for his career. I question whether... The only reason I would be happy if Manchester United... Not happy, but the only reason I think it would make sense if Manchester United sold Wan-Bissaka would be if the price was actually right and fair. And in my opinion... Oh, he's only got 1 year left on his deal, which probably does bring his price down a little bit. But it's got to be somewhere around the £15 million mark. I don't know whether that's a couple of mil below, a couple of mil up. It should be around... If it's there, then I can understand. Anything less than that, it's like there's no point in shifting Wan-Bissaka on. Callum, we're not going to get 35 million for Wan-Bissaka. But remember the prices we were seeing, him getting linked with Turkey, I think it was. I think it was like 7 to 10 million euros. And I'm like, that stinks. Absolutely stinks. But maybe this could be a way of Lindelof going to Everton would be great for us. I don't think Everton fans would be too happy, but Lindelof's a good mate. Lindelof's an all right defender. He's just nowhere near aggressive enough. And he's just not good enough for Manchester United. I don't think he's a replacement for Branthwaite, otherwise I would keep him at the club. But ideally, Everton do want both of them because it makes the Branthwaite conversation easier. Remember, we've got 4 days left. 30 days in June? Can't remember. Anyway, I think there are. 4 days left before the deadline. Still no whispers or murmurs on Branthwaite. So again, probably bad timing on my holiday. I say it's a holiday. It's only a weekend. May well get something on the Branthwaite situation. You may well get a late bid from United before the deadline on the 30th. And you may well get an announcement on the Ten Hag and Ruud van Nistelrooy contract. Well, contract for Erik Ten Hag, but Ruud van Nistelrooy joining. We'll see. Now, something else that happened yesterday. And I really want to get your opinions on this in the comments. What do you think about this? So, of course, Carrington is getting redeveloped, right? The redevelopments will last all of the 2024-25 seasons. Season. All of next season, there's going to be developments going on at Carrington. And as part of that, Manchester United are now moving the women's team out of their newly built... What do you call it? Section of the training ground? Don't know. As part of Carrington, it was built a £10 million investment and it gave the women's team new facilities, new changing rooms, all that jazz. But now the women's team are being moved out of that to move into portable buildings, whilst the men then move out of theirs into the newly built facilities. And it's definitely influencing stuff like this, right? Absolutely is part of the reason why Mary Earps is going to be leaving. Robbie's saying it seems harsh, should move the youth teams. I don't know whether there's be space for it. But there's absolutely no way that Ineos are going to be moving the men's first team into Portakabins. There isn't. And Ineos, I think there's a fair amount of frustration from supporters of the women's team about their lack of interest in the women's team right now. Like Matt Johnson was brought in, Polly Bancroft left as head of women's football, if I remember correctly. He's now in as interim head of women's football, and not really much is happening on the women's side. Could they? I think the question here you've got, okay, what's the alternative? I think there were reports that Man United explored off-site moving, whether it was the women's team or whatever it was, moving it off-site, and they decided against it. But of course they're going to prioritise the men's team in the instance of everything needs to be fixed. And if they can't do it all at once, they're going to prioritise. Kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, this little situation here. I don't really know what the... Somebody leave it in the comments here, right? I'll be interested to know if somebody can let me know something. What do you think could have been done that would have pleased everybody? That everybody would have been happy with? What decision? What would that be? You can't build somewhere else because that's what they're doing. They're currently redeveloping Carrington. Would it be moving elsewhere? I really don't think this is a... I can't see a situation where Ineos could have done... I've seen some people say, oh yeah, move the men's team into the Portakabins. Are you really going to do that? I don't think so. Rent a neutral ground, build a new building on the same site. Well, Harry, that's exactly what they're doing. They're bringing in portable buildings. I think this particular scenario... No, look, are there training facilities at the Lee Sports Village? I don't know whether there are. I think, but this particular scenario, there was always going to be somebody who was pissed off. That's what happens when you renovate stuff. People get put out of place. When you renovate your house and you do your kitchen, you cook in a microwave in the living room. I don't know, stuff like that. Anyway, it is harsh on the women's team. It is completely harsh. I don't think this is a situation where there was going to be all happy parties. Somebody was going to be pissed off. And it looks like Mary Earps is leaving. And it's not the first player to leave. Man United's women's team has been underfunded. It really has. Anyway, I'm going to wrap that up for today. I say it's a really awkward situation. I don't really see how there would have been a happy scenario for everyone in this one. Anyway, back to the main man himself. Go on, Ralph. Right. Last couple of minutes of the show. Fire in any questions you want to ask me. Anything you think I've spoken about or you'd like a little bit more information. My lunchtime video today is going to be on Manuel Ugarte. And I'm going to run through, as I said, all the reasons why I think he could be a good signing for Manchester United. And all the reasons why I think he could be a bad signing. And I'm going to try and be as objective as possible. Not really my opinion, just kind of look at the facts. And then you can bring it all together. Ryan is saying, are they not buying the golf course, Sam? Remember they were getting... I think we looked at a couple of golf courses. Our golf course, of course, very good for drainage. So the grounds would be very well kept. I was under the presumption that what Ineos are doing with Carrington was temporary, but it may well be that they just intend to improve Carrington and not buy a new training ground. I don't know. I thought that was. Can you get notifications for these videos, says Jonathan. I'm pretty sure if you all go down, you look below and there's a little bell button. You just click that and you just turn notifications on for United People's TV. And no, why are you only going away for a couple of days? You should go away for a week. We want some signings. No, I can never. It's really, really hard to go away in the summer. That's a big point of growth here for United People's TV. I've got lots on my plate this summer. Not just with football, but with a lot of stuff going on outside personally as well. But next summer, I want to get to the position. I want to grow United People's TV to the position where there's somebody else that you all trust that could do some of these shows if I'm away for a couple of days, and that the content can continue without me being, if only for a short term, for a couple of days. That's what I want to do. That's my goal for the growth of United People's TV, because it's impossible for me to switch off. If something happens out there, I'll record a video and we'll get a video up on the channel. It won't be live, or maybe it will be. Depends on the signal out there. We'll see. Any news on the possible backups interviewing? Oh, yeah, is that what you're just talking about there? No word on that yet, but I'm going to do a proper advert for it because it will be a paid role. All right? It won't be full-time paid, but it'll be a paid position. So it'll be something that has to be good and fit and ready for it, and somebody that I can trust to continue the hard work that I've been doing here on United People's TV. That's the truth. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. Much love to all of you. If you can, please drop a like on the video. What's the poll results? 985 votes, and we've got 45% of you are saying 30 to 40 mil. 36% of you are saying 40 to 50 mil. I'd like it to be a loan with an option. That would be nice. But anyway, everyone, take it easy. Much love.